Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Virginia Franzese, and I have 3 children, one of whom is a student who is transitioning. We're in a very fluid position right now in terms of gender identity.
Welcome to TranScript, where we talk about trans issues in education.
I'm your host, Gene Johnson, former superintendent in the Shawnee Mission School District in Kansas.
And I'm Brad Tennant, longtime math teacher in Kansas. And today on TranScript, it's hard enough being the parent of a student, but imagine if your kid was trans and your school was ill-equipped to help.
Virginia's here today to help us understand what that's like. Let's start at the beginning. When did you know for sure your son is trans?
3 years ago, Ollie came to us and said, I want to start identifying as a boy. I feel like I'm a boy. That was at the end of 5th grade going into 6th grade in Blue Valley School District, which is the district that we're in. That was moving from elementary school to middle school. Of course, we were very supportive. My son, who's now 18, and his girlfriend at the time, decorated the kitchen and did a It's a Boy party, and we did this whole thing. And we went and met with the school in August before the school year started, and had the conversation that Ollie wanted to go by that name and wanted to make sure that we were using he, him pronouns. So for 3 years, so that was 3 years ago, Ollie was pretty staunchly Ollie, he, him.
And your son, he was a student at Leawood Middle School?
Correct.
And now has since moved to private school?
Correct.
What was the situation like at Leawood Middle School? What was that experience like?
It was awful. There were a number of different things that happened. One was that there was no communication between the elementary school and the middle school to get Ollie's 504 plan transition transferred. And so it took well into Ollie's first year at Leawood Middle School before that plan was even acknowledged. That alone made things very difficult.
Did they explain that that was typical? I mean, it seems like the transition from elementary to middle school should be something they do with 504 plans regularly. Yeah.
So the assistant principal, who's the principal now, she was out on maternity leave going into or at the beginning of that year, and they cited that as the reason it just fell through the cracks.
I mean, it doesn't seem like you should have to follow up and say, is that 504 going to make it to the middle school?
Oh, I mean, I followed up multiple times,
right,
because accommodations were not being provided. So there was that. They have a system in place where the child's preferred name can be used, and they weren't using the child's preferred name, that's what shows up when they do attendance, right, and roll call and grades and all of that. They weren't using that name, even though they said they would. Ollie's introducing himself to classmates as Ollie and then being called his dead name by teachers. And that was the start of the bullying in middle school, because kids got wind of it. Had that not happened, I think they probably still would have eventually gotten wind of it, but of Ollie's desire to transition. But that just made it very obvious. So then kids started bullying. They were cyberbullying. They were, there was a situation at one point where a student was following Ollie home and saying mean things. There was times where students were taking video of Ollie walking to and from different places in and around the neighborhood and the school, and then posting really nasty things online. There were so many different situations. The the culminating situation was that the student who had been really terrible to Ollie randomly stood up in the cafeteria and started calling Ollie a derogatory slur, screaming it. just Ollie walked into the cafeteria and this kid stood up and started just screaming this derogatory slur at Ollie.
Virginia, could I ask you, when that occurred, which was really an egregious situation right there, it had to be terribly embarrassing and hurtful to your child. How did the school handle that specific situation?
They gave the child 1 day of in-school suspension.
By this time, I'm assuming that there was a lot of frustration going on, especially with you, maybe through the school. I don't know how that transpired, but did you ever have any interaction with the central office person or somebody from the central office that was a conduit between the school and you?
I tried multiple times and never received a response.
Wow. So, in other words, you were kind of standing out there all by yourself trying to help your son, and you weren't getting
Any
service from the school district.
anything. And I even went to the parents of at one point I called 3 parents. 2 of them were very apologetic and said that they would absolutely talk with their kids. One of them was like, not my Timmy. His name wasn't Tim, but, not my Bobby, not my Billy, which was kind of to be expected. And then the student who was really harassing my child, I went to their home and knocked on the door and asked for help after the incident in the cafeteria. And I explained, this is a life and death situation for my child. And the mom laughed me off of her front porch. And that night, Ollie attempted suicide.
That's really hard for me to hear that. After all that occurred, were any students supporting Ollie?
I think there were students who were trying, but Ollie definitely, fight, flight, or freeze, and Ollie just became frozen, very frozen. So there were a couple of students and a couple of parents who really tried and were good friends to us during that time, but it got so bad that Ollie wasn't even in a position to be able to receive that help.
Do you feel like it's a systemic issue within, I don't want to be bashing Blue Valley District, but do you feel like it's a systemic issue within the district, or was it how things operated at that school?
It's interesting to me because they moved the principal after that year, which may or may not have anything to do with the situation. And I don't know how much we want to get into this, but we filed a lawsuit against Blue Valley School District. As I have done additional research after that lawsuit was filed, I am shocked at how many times Blue Valley School District has been sued that I could find for situations like this. And I've been floored at the number of other parents and students who have reached out and said, I know someone who went through this, or I myself went through this, or I went through this with my child. Maybe it's anecdotal, but this is certainly not the first time that this has occurred. It's just so disappointing.
It certainly, as an educator, that is frustrating to hear. Yeah, as a parent,
that's putting it lightly. It's disappointing. It's heartbreaking. It's been really, really awful. And I will say that I myself was an educator before getting into my current career, and both of my parents are educators. And so we were all just kind of shocked because we hear such great things about our school district. And it was like we couldn't believe that this was how the district was handling it or not handling it.
Yeah, I think unbelievable is a good way to describe that.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. Let's kind of transition now into your interaction now. You've had all of these experiences that have been so negative, and now the board is getting involved. And I know that there was especially a board member, Jim McMullen. Apparently, that turned into a real negative situation, even with the board. Would that be correct?
I can't believe that someone like that, who is that vocally dismissive at best and discriminatory against any student, would be elected to a board position for a district that's supposed to be one of the best school districts in the country. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And is a reflection of at least part of the parent population that students like mine are having to deal with.
You've had this unbelievably bad experience with the school district, and it's caused all sorts of strife with your family and everything. So where did you go from there?
We went from Blue Valley to Plaza Academy.
Okay.
We were there for part of a semester, and then Ollie found a wonderful home at Accelerated Schools of Overland Park. Still, I mean, you don't just go through what Ollie has gone through and land on your feet without significant intervention.
Right.
I mean, largely because of what happened at Leawood Middle School, Ollie's entire childhood, the better part of Ollie's childhood, was taken from him.
It's just hard for me to even think about that.
There's been so much at this stage that I'm having a hard time even believing myself. Right? Like, we moved into Blue Valley School District, and I specifically bought my home that backs to Leawood Middle and Leawood Elementary School, because when I bought my home, I had 2 elementary students and a middle schooler, right? I'm a single mom. Then being able to walk to school was a game changer for us. And then for it to turn into this. Now, that said, my youngest is going to be in 5th grade next year. Her class is wonderful. The principal at Leawood Elementary School is wonderful and has been so supportive of my family and of Ollie. The parents in that class, in my youngest's class, are wonderful parents for the most part. And the class is a reflection of that. I mean, these parents are kind, they're inclusive, there's not really bullying, the kids are protective of one another. So I know that there are good people and good parents and good students. And I don't mean good, I mean kind-hearted, right? Inclusive people in the district. That said, what Ollie went through was a direct result of people who were not.
Do you think
who were not doing their job?
Do you think changes have been made so that won't happen again?
I have no reason to believe that anything has changed.
So tell us about Ollie now. Where is he now?
So Ollie is really focused on getting the help and healing that he needs in order to truly move beyond all of this trauma. It's been a really rough couple of years. And so about a week ago, we took Ollie to a trauma recovery center in Minnesota. And Ollie will be there for several months doing the work to get beyond this. Because as we all know, trauma doesn't go away unless we deal with it. It is an incredibly brave thing for my kiddo to do. We're very close. I'm never really away from Ollie for more than a couple of nights, like when he's with his dad. So the thought of us being away from each other for months on end is a little bit daunting, but we're taking it one day at a time. And I'm so proud of the work that Ollie's doing. And I think that because of everything that our family has been through, we can be a resource for other families. We've always flown a pride flag in front of our home, just as a visual signal that we are a safe place for all, students from all backgrounds. I'm thankful that because of all of this, we've developed a deeper level of compassion. And I'm hopeful. I mean, I'm hopeful. Finding this center in Minnesota is the first time in a long time that I've had hope that Ollie's going to be able to get beyond all of this.
Yeah.
Is Ollie planning high school? Is that for next year?
That's the plan.
Awesome. Well, I mean, my hope. I mean, I teach in the high school, and it certainly seems that it has become a more supportive, inclusive environment. Middle school is a challenge for many reasons, and all the struggles you had were just extra on top of that. And I hope that Ollie finds the support that I see my transgender students. They seem to be making it through high school, relatively effortless. As not one high school student goes through it effortlessly,
Right.
but it certainly. I think some of the barriers are eliminated at the high school level. That the kids are starting to act a little bit more like adults and seeing what all of their friends go through with different issues, and that I hope that high school experience is much more positive.
Yeah.
Virginia, we're getting ready to wrap up here, but I want to certainly give you a chance to. Is there anything that you wanted to say or wanted to talk about that we haven't touched on?
I think the one thing that I would say, two things. Can I have two things? I'll say two things.
Two.
The first is that a little kindness goes a long way. Using the proper pronouns or the preferred pronouns for someone, calling them their preferred name, acknowledging them, helping them feel seen for exactly who they are, and giving them the freedom, right? I mean, it's not really ours to give, but knowing that, helping kiddos know that they have the freedom to be and become exactly who they were designed to be. And we as adults, whether it's our children or other children, we have an incredible opportunity to just support them, right? The second thing is that I will say, navigating all of this, there's no roadmap. And for parents who are dealing with these things, whether it's dealing with children who are being helping your children who are being bullied, navigating school district stuff, navigating the mental health landscape, which is very, very challenging, especially in Kansas. Reach out to parents like myself. We're happy to help, because I know when I started down this path, I had no roadmap. I still wouldn't say that I have a great one, but I definitely have learned a lot about what is and isn't available and what we can and should expect and demand for our children. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground here today. Jean and I are going to ponder this for a little bit, and we'll be back to talk about what we've learned. All right, Gene, what did we learn today with our discussion with Virginia?
Well, one thing I think we definitely learned was quoting Winston Churchill, never, never, never give up. And I think that's exactly fitting for Virginia. She's gone through this whole situation with her son, and she's never let up. She's stayed the path. She's worked as hard as she could with her son and her son's success in mind. And she's run into a tremendous amount of roadblocks that you and I, being in the school business, know that those roadblocks should not have been there. And so
that's really frustrating. You're right, because it looks like policy-wise, this should never happen.
Yeah, and it's so frustrating to even hear it, because we know, the two of us know, we've been around long enough to know that policies are important, following policies are important, but more than anything, students come first. And in this situation, Blue Valley's determined they're going to come first here. They're not going to deal with this issue. Honest to God, I've never heard a story with a mom being so frustrated and unhappy and at not having anybody supporting her in the school district, where she actually goes to people's homes, knocks on the door to try and get the parents to help.
Right. It should never have to come to that.
Never, ever.
I just sure hope that more parents can hear this story and that this improves for the next parent that is dealing with this. And we certainly know that dealing with transgendered students in the school district is something that is fairly new, but it certainly can't go like this.
Yeah, but look at 25 years ago, or when you started teaching, gay students were kind of an issue. Nothing this large, but I think we've learned to deal with that to a pretty good degree, maybe not perfectly, but same-sex marriages, that was a huge thing maybe 10 years ago, and you don't hear much about it anymore. Now, is that same thing going to happen with transgender, where 20 years of people going through heartache, like Virginia's gone through and her family and everybody? It just seems to me that there's a solution right around the corner here, but the district doesn't want to look around the corner.
The good intentions are not enough.
Yeah.
Right. And we need to see more people step up. It shouldn't be Virginia having to step up. It needs to be from the administrative level. She's saying that she's having a good experience right now, elementary school, 5th grade class. And, those teachers can make a difference. And I know that they can step up. We see that at the high school level, that a student survives high school because a teacher takes them under their wing. And so, regardless of the policies in place, individuals are going to have to step up.
There's a lot of levels all of this goes through. And in every one of the levels here, the ball got dropped.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's hard for me to understand. Same with you. I mean, we've been around. We know that you can solve a problem if you're dedicated to doing it.
Right.
And if you're not dedicated, you're not going to solve it.
Right. All along the way, there were people that if their job was done right, that many of these obstacles would have been eliminated. Again, individuals are going to have to step up. And, we hope that when we're talking about the story 5 years down the road, that things are much better for Ollie and for everybody that follows Ollie.
I think he has the probability of his success is good. It's just getting him in the right place, the right help, everything that he needs, and his family has the ability to do it.
And that's this episode of TranScript. TranScript is produced by Sam Zeff and is part of the Archiver series of podcasts.
Make sure you subscribe to Archiver wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, I'm Gene Johnson.
And I'm Brad Tennant, and we'll see you on the next TranScript.